So here are my 3 takeaways from last week's solar eclipse. There were several things that were coming up for me during this eclipse. It wasn't as bad as I expected it to be in a way. It certainly challenged me. Like the day after the solar eclipse was when I felt, I guess, the most intensity when it comes to some of the stuff that was bubbling up for me. But the 3 takeaways that I got out of this solar eclipse is: number one, really question your stories. Really, really pay attention to the stories that are playing in your head constantly and really question them. Really question your thoughts, especially thoughts that make you feel like crap, especially thoughts that are heavy, that don't feel good, that don't uplift, right? Really, really question those and really pay attention to how frequently they're happening, how frequently they're circulating within your mind. And really look at the stories that you're attached to, that you keep repeating and keep looping in your mind, that you don't even want, right? We have such a tendency to focus on negative things because we've experienced negative things, and we have a tendency to be very untrusting when it comes to things like working out well and things going positive in the future, right? And the only reason why we question these is because we are still circulating some type of a story within our minds that was most likely generated at a time in our life when there was a lot of challenges, when there was a lot of difficulty. And what I found over the weekend was like the story sort of popping up in my head and repeating. I didn't like it at all. And I noticed how incredibly negative it was and how incredibly like a complete and utter waste of time and energy. Like it was just not making me feel good. So that was one awareness. And then another awareness that came through was that the devil absolutely will test you the most when you are literally like on the cusp of a breakthrough. Like literally when you are just about to transition, and this could be like an identity shift. Like as soon as you are like right there, like right at the door, and you're about to transition into this brand new identity because you've done so much soul work, you've done so much emotional work, like you've just detoxed so much crap out of your system and out of your mind and body and your heart, that like you're just about to like transition into this beautiful, powerful, strong version of yourself. That's when you're going to be tested the most. That's when the devil really starts to come in and tries to, twist your thoughts and use whatever the eclipse brought up against you, because that's what was happening for me. And I was noticing that I was becoming super aware of it, that the frustration that I was feeling, it was almost like something that I couldn't see and I couldn't sense, but just sort of knew in a way was there, was just trying to keep me stuck. It was trying to keep me in that old self. It was trying to keep me in that not trusting energy. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I totally trust and I totally know that everything in my life is moving in the right direction. Like, why would it not? After so much time of investing into myself, of really doing the work, right? And so it just helped me realize, I'm like, oh, okay, like this thing doesn't have power over me at all. It's just trying to have power over me. It's trying to trip you up right in that moment that you are literally just about to pop into this new identity. And so this is kind of a test that ultimately will come up, and it's a challenge that I think will come up for a lot of people who are just about to transition into this brand new amazing life, or this brand new amazing chapter of their life. So be aware of that, because if you are aware of it, you can just really see it for what it is, and you're not going to allow it to trip you up, and it won't trip you up. You're just going to notice that it's like, nah, you don't have a hold on me anymore. It's just, I'm so not that old identity. Like old Kata would have 100% bought into it and would have believed it and would have been like sad or going down that deep dark rabbit hole again, back into negativity. But it just didn't have the hold this time. It really didn't have any fuel for it to go there. Like it's like I could see the rabbit hole and then I dodged it. like, oh, there it is. I'm not going to fall down it again. Right. So that was not the second thing. And then the third thing I noticed is that the new identity that you have been slowly curating and building upon and creating within yourself is now already a part of you. It is now who you are on the inside, and your outside needs to catch up with that. It's just how you embody this new version of yourself, and what is that new version of yourself really like, and why it was like I got clarity on why it's so important to just really fully allow yourself to step into that new version of yourself, that new identity that, like I said, you've been working on for a long time, and it's like here, and you are that person already on the inside, and now you just have to reflect it on the outside, and it reflects on the outside through not believing those stories, right? And not allowing them to pull you back down the rabbit hole, and just really staying focused on that new version of yourself and be like, no, yeah, this is who I am. And just like keep affirming that within yourself and keep reminding yourself that, this is who I am. And this is how I always choose to feel and how I choose to live my life. And these are the things that I'm going to now focus on, and make that focus really on yourself, on just taking care of yourself and being good to yourself. Like I really listened, and thank God it was a really beautiful day yesterday, but I spent like so much time outside this weekend, like both Saturday and Sunday. I was outside for most of the day, and it felt really, really good. It was just helping me to actually embody. It was helping me and allowing me to just honor what I felt I wanted to do and needed to do, and which is to be outside. That's what I craved more than anything, was just to be outside, and I allowed it, and I just went with it. And I noticed that, wow, this is embodiment. This is how you truly embody that new version of yourself, that new version who is healed, who is whole, who is happy, who can just flow, who doesn't need restriction, who doesn't need, anything to be in the way. The only thing that ever gets in our way is ourselves, right? And so, like I said, if you're tested by the darkness, then you are right at the cusp of your breakthrough. Like you are right there, and you have to really remind yourself that I am right there, and this is nothing more than a test. It is nothing more than a challenge, and you lose, I win. Because I'm just going to choose to be me. I'm just going to choose to let myself completely like identify and be this new version of myself, and wholeheartedly step into that, right? Into that embodiment, into that feeling, into that knowing, right? So these were my takeaways from this past week. It was, like I said, a little bit challenging the day after, a couple of days after the eclipse. I definitely noticed certain thought patterns resurfacing, and just really wanting to stay put and keep me looping in that old version. But I was like, no, that's not where I want to be. So I stayed very firm with doing my gratitude practice every single day, every morning. And that really pulled me through. It really kept me focused. It kept me aligned to who I really am. And it allows me to embody the identity of someone who can have, be, or do anything. So that was my takeaway. I'd love to hear your takeaways. I'd love to hear any insight or anything that you noticed that came up for you over this past week or weekend after the eclipse. Any triggers, what triggered you, how you handled it, all of that good stuff. It's just so nice to get feedback and to hear how other people move through energies, because we all move through it a little bit different, and that's totally cool. And yeah, so that's kind of my take, and I'd love to hear yours. So if you want to leave feedback in the comment section, I'd appreciate that. Would love to hear it. You can also like this video if anything resonated. You can subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.